The first thing I remember is the sound of my own heartbeat, but it's wrong somehow. Too slow, too distant, like it's coming from another room. I'm standing in what used to be my operating theater at Presbyterian Hospital, but the walls are breathing, expanding and contracting with each pulse I hear. My hands are clean, too clean. The kind of sterile that only comes after you've washed blood away for the last time. I flex my fingers, and they feel foreign, like borrowed instruments I'm not quite sure how to use anymore. Dr. Rowe. The voice comes from behind me, soft and knowing. I turn, and there's a woman I don't recognize, dressed in scrubs that shimmer like oil on water. Her eyes are the color of deep space. You've been asleep for a very long time. I want to tell her that's impossible. I remember everything up until the moment I didn't. The late surgery, the drive home through the rain, the headlights that came out of nowhere. But when I try to speak, my voice sounds like it's coming from underwater. How long? I manage to ask. Time doesn't work the same way here, Elias. You know that. She steps closer, and I can see my reflection in her pupils. I look exactly the same, but there's something missing behind my eyes. The question isn't how long you've been gone. It's whether you want to come back. The operating theater dissolves around us like sugar in rain. We're standing in my childhood bedroom now, the one with the Yankees poster and the model planes hanging from fishing line. But the bed is made too perfectly, and there's dust on everything except the knitstand where a photograph sits. It's Marin, my daughter. She's 7 in the picture, gap-toothed and laughing, holding up a drawing she made of our family. 3 stick figures under a crayon sun. But in the drawing, one of the figures is transparent, barely there. She drew this yesterday, the woman says. Or maybe it was last year. Dreams have their own logic, don't they? I pick up the photograph, and my hands are shaking. Is she okay? She's asking questions her mother can't answer. About why Daddy isn't coming home. About whether people can hear you when you're sleeping. The woman's voice is gentle but relentless. She's been having dreams about you. The room shifts again, and we're in a hospital corridor that stretches infinitely in both directions. The fluorescent lights flicker in patterns that almost make sense, like Morse code from another dimension. My footsteps echo, but hers don't make any sound at all. What am I? I ask, though I'm not sure I want to know the answer. You're in between, she says, caught in the space between one breath and the next. Your body is in room 314, 3 floors above us. Your brain is showing activity, but it's not the kind the doctors understand. I know room 314. I've delivered news to families there, held their hands while they made impossible decisions. The irony isn't lost on me, but it feels distant, like something that happened to someone else. We pass a window, and I can see the parking lot where I used to smoke cigarettes between surgeries, back when I thought I was invincible. There's a man standing under the streetlight, and he looks exactly like me, but sadder. He's looking up at the building like he's trying to remember something important. Is that a version of you that chose differently? There are many of them here. Every decision creates echoes, and echoes create possibilities. She stops walking and turns to face me. But you're the original, the one who has to choose. The corridor begins to narrow, and the lights grow dimmer. I can hear voices now, familiar and strange. My mother's laugh, Marin's bedtime prayers, the steady beep of monitors that might be counting down to something final. I need to see her, I say. My daughter. She's closer than you think. But first, you need to meet someone who's been waiting for you. The woman gestures toward a door that wasn't there a moment before. It's painted the same blue as Marin's bedroom walls. He's been trying to reach you since you arrived. The door opens before I can touch it, and I'm standing in a place that defies description. It's part cathedral, part forest, part observatory. The ceiling is made of stars, but they're moving, rearranging themselves into patterns that tell stories I almost understand. A figure emerges from the shadows between the trees. He's tall and angular, with silver hair and eyes that hold the weight of eternity. When he speaks, his voice carries the sound of distant thunder. "I am Nairos," he says, "and I have been waiting for you to remember who you are. I'm Elias Rowe. I'm a neurosurgeon. I have a daughter." The words feel like a mantra, something to hold on to in this place where nothing makes sense. "You were those things," Nairos says, circling me slowly. "But identity is more fluid here. You are also the boy who wanted to save everyone, the student who studied until his eyes burned, the father who promised his daughter he would always come home. Which version of yourself do you choose to be?" The trees around us begin to pulse with bioluminescent light, and I can see faces in the bark. Patients I've saved, colleagues I've worked with, strangers whose lives intersected with mine in ways I never knew. They're all watching, waiting for something I don't understand. "I don't know what you want from me," I say. "I want you to remember the night you decided to become a doctor." Nairos extends his hand, and when I take it, the world explodes into memory. I'm 12 years old, sitting in a hospital waiting room while my mother fights for her life 3 doors down. The doctor comes out, tired and defeated, and tells my father that they've done everything they can. But I know, even then, that everything isn't enough. That somewhere in the vast complexity of the human body, there's always another way, another chance, another choice. "I wanted to be the doctor who never gave up," I whisper. "And now you are the patient who must choose whether to give up." Nairos's grip tightens. The irony is exquisite, isn't it? The memory dissolves, and we're back in the impossible cathedral. But now I can see other figures moving between the trees. They're all me, but different. The me who became a teacher instead of a surgeon. The me who never married. The me who died at 17 in a car accident that never happened. Every choice creates a branch, Nairos explains. Every branch creates a new version of reality. But you, Elias, you've reached a junction where all the branches converge. You can choose which reality to inhabit. What's the catch? I ask, because there's always a catch. The catch is that choosing means accepting the consequences. If you choose to live, you'll return to a body that may never work the same way. You'll be the surgeon who can't operate, the father who can't provide, the man who survived when perhaps he shouldn't have. If you choose to let go, you'll become something else entirely. A guardian, a guide, a voice that whispers to others who find themselves lost between worlds. The weight of it settles on my shoulders like a lead blanket. I think of Marin, of how she'll grow up either way, with a damaged father who might become a burden, or with a memory of a father who was perfect because he was never there to disappoint her. I need to see her, I say again, before I decide. Nairos nods, and the cathedral melts away. We're standing in Marin's bedroom, but it's not quite right. The walls are the same blue, but they're covered in drawings I've never seen before. Pictures of angels and ghosts, of figures that look like me, but translucent, barely there. She's asleep in her bed, 7 years old and dreaming, her dark hair spread across the pillow like spilled ink. But in the corner of the room, there's another figure. A woman with kind eyes and gentle hands, sitting in the rocking chair where I used to read bedtime stories. "Hello, Elias," my mother says, and her voice is exactly as I remember it. "I've been taking care of her while you were away." "Mom?" The word breaks something inside me. "But you're..." "Dead, yes, technically. But death is just another form of service, sweetheart. Just another way to love." She stands and moves toward me, and I can smell her perfume, the same jasmine scent she wore when I was young. She's been dreaming about both of us, you know. About the grandfather she never met, and the father who might not come home. I want to touch her, to prove she's real, but I'm afraid she'll disappear. How is this possible? Love doesn't end when breathing stops, Elias. It just changes form. It becomes something that can reach across dimensions, across the boundaries between life and death. She gestures toward Marin, who stirs in her sleep. She's been visiting us both in her dreams. Children are better at crossing over than adults. They haven't learned that it's impossible yet. As if summoned by her words, Marin opens her eyes. But instead of fear at finding strangers in her room, she smiles. A sleepy, knowing smile that suggests this isn't the first time we've met this way. "Daddy," she whispers, and her voice carries across the space between us like a prayer. "I've been waiting for you to remember how to dream." "Baby," I say, and I'm crying now, tears that feel more real than anything else in this strange place. "I'm so sorry. I'm so sorry I left." "You didn't leave," she says, sitting up in bed. "You went exploring. Like when we go to the forest, and you show me how to find the path home." She looks at my mother, then at Nairos, then back at me. "But now you have to choose which path to take." Out of the mouths of babes. I kneel beside her bed, and she reaches out to touch my face. Her hand passes through me like I'm made of mist, but I can feel her warmth anyway. "If I come back," I say, "I might not be the same daddy you remember. I might be sick or different or scared. But you'll still be you," she says with the absolute certainty that only children possess. The you that reads me stories and makes funny voices and promises to always find me in the dark. "And if I don't come back?" Her face grows serious, older than her years. "Then you'll be the daddy who loves me from far away. The one who visits in dreams and makes sure I'm never really alone." She pauses, considering. "But I think I'd rather have the daddy who's here, even if he's different." Different isn't the same as gone. The room begins to fade around the edges, like a photograph left too long in the sun. I can feel something pulling at me, a gentle but insistent force that wants to drag me back to a place of beeping machines and antiseptic smells. "Time's running out," Nairos says. "The window between worlds is closing." I look at my mother, at my daughter, at the life I've built, and the life I might still have. There's no perfect choice, no outcome that doesn't involve loss or sacrifice. But maybe that's the point. Maybe the choice isn't about avoiding pain, but about choosing which pain has meaning. "I want to go back," I say, and the words feel like jumping off a cliff. "I want to try." My mother smiles, and she's starting to fade. "I'm proud of you, sweetheart, for fighting, for choosing hope over certainty, for being brave enough to live with the consequences." "Will I see you again?" I ask. "Every time you look at Marin's eyes, you'll see me. Every time you choose compassion over efficiency, healing over perfection, you'll carry me with you." She's almost transparent now, a ghost of love and memory. "Take care of our girl." Marin reaches out again, and this time her hand doesn't pass through me. She grabs my finger with the fierce grip of a child who's learned too early that people can disappear, and she holds on tight. "I love you, Daddy," she whispers. "Come home soon." The room explodes into light, and I'm falling through layers of consciousness like a stone through water. I can hear voices, urgent and professional, calling my name. Someone is pressing on my chest, forcing breath into my lungs, pulling me back from the edge of everything. But I'm not afraid anymore. I've seen what lies beyond the veil, and I know that love is stronger than death. That consciousness is more vast than any one body can contain, that the connections we make transcend the boundaries of flesh and time. I'm falling toward a future I can't predict, toward a body that might be broken, toward a life that will certainly be different from the one I left. But I'm also falling toward my daughter's laughter, toward the possibility of new kinds of healing, toward the chance to be the father who came back from the impossible. The last thing I remember before the darkness gives way to fluorescent lights and the smell of hospital disinfectant is Nairos's voice, distant but clear. "Remember, Elias, you are the bridge between worlds now. Use that gift wisely. And then I'm awake, truly awake, gasping and fighting and alive. The machines around me are screaming, and nurses are rushing in. And somewhere in the distance, I can hear my wife's voice calling my name like a prayer answered. But I'm not the same man who went to sleep in that operating theater. I'm something new, something changed, something that has seen the architecture of dreams and chosen to return to the messy, painful, beautiful reality of being human. I'm the father who made a promise to come home, and I'm the man who kept it, even when home meant accepting that some journeys change you forever. The first words I speak when they remove the breathing tube are my daughter's name, and the nurse smiles and tells me she's on her way, that she's been waiting by the phone, that she never stopped believing I would wake up, that she's been having the most amazing dreams about angels and grandfathers and fathers who travel through impossible spaces to keep their promises. I close my eyes and smile because I know exactly what dream she's been having. I was there, after all. I was there, and I chose to come back, and in that choice, I found something I never expected. I found that the space between life and death isn't empty. It's full of love, full of possibility, full of the connections that bind us to each other across every boundary that exists. And I found that sometimes the most profound act of healing isn't saving a life. It's choosing to live one fully and completely, even when you know it will be different from what you planned. Especially then,